Hello, Ty Dillon. Okay, so this week I have a different guest. I had put on Instagram that I wanted to have a special guest, and here he is, my fabulous spouse, Ty Dillon. I don't know why I feel the most awkward talking to you, like as if I don't.
Oh, it's the line between it's a podcast and we're just hanging out, so we'll get comfortable as we go.
So odd. And I put on Instagram a bunch of questions for people to ask us. So, yeah. But
Do you have any questions for me?
I was just wondering, where did you grow up? Do you have any kids? No, all the things that I always ask everyone. So we always talk about where everyone did grow up, which, and I mean, obviously I know all of these things about you, but I always ask the girls where they grew up and like a little bit about their childhood. And I would say if people are tuning in to us, they probably know most of that, but give everyone a little bit of the spark notes of like you and your upbringing. And yeah. And then we can get into like telling our story of how we met.
Okay. So I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. For those NASCAR fans, Winston Cup. That's where RJ Reynolds is out of, Winston-Salem. That was my hometown.
Tell them about your grandpa, too.
Yeah, so we'll get, I guess I can.
I'm sorry.
So Winston-Salem, and obviously grew up around racing. So my grandfather's Richard Childress, owned Dillon race cars.
I actually meant your dad's dad and how he worked.
I know, I was gonna get
Okay,
to that
sorry.
part.
Go ahead.
So grandfather's Richard Childress. So I grew up around racing. Those that know me through NASCAR and follow Haley through NASCAR know that, but those who don't. So grew up in a racing family. NASCAR was our whole life. Every weekend was watching Dale Earnhardt, Mike Skinner, and whoever the RCR drivers through my childhood were. We lived and died off where they finished. My brother and I got pizza every time we won. And everybody was a little on edge when we didn't win. But good thing is RCR won a lot back in those days. But for me, I didn't think I was going to be a race car driver. And, you know, I try to relive my football glory days all the time. And you kind of get a little secondhand embarrassment when I talk about it. But I love football. I still love football. That was kind of like my first sports dream. But our parents had us playing sports as kids all the time. That was something that we were every season of life, every season of every year, we were playing a different sport and involved in that. And when I was 13 years old, everybody got bigger than me and felt like I wanted to give racing a chance and called up Pop Pop. And that was where the racing dream started at 13. Got in a Bandolero car. Little did I know, a few short years later, I was going to meet the love of my life at a legend car track. Yeah. Just outside where I ran my first practice in a Bandolero car. And some kind of spark notes in this thing.
Yeah.
And now here we are. We've been married for 10 years. We've been together for 13, 12 and a half,
We're
13?
like 13 and a half now.
13 and a half years.
Yeah. This winter, it's like 14.
Yep.
And then 11 years married.
Three amazing babies. I've raced over 250 cup starts now, which is just crazy when you look back at it. And just something that I'm proud of, even though it's just a number. But then later on this year, we get to Nashville, will be my 500th NASCAR start amongst the top 3 series. So it's been awesome. But the most wonderful thing it's given me is you and our kids and the life that it's provided. And this year has been super special. We've been having a lot of fun. We'll get into it at some point, whether it's this podcast or not, just the ups and downs of what our life has been in racing. But I guess circling back to my dad's father, who we called Paul, Stan Dillon, he worked at RJ Reynolds, which make Winston-Salem cigarettes and a lot of other products, which they also now make Grizzly nicotine pouches, which is my sponsor this year. So it's been such a cool full circle. And they are a
unintentional plug there.
Yeah. They are based out of Winston-Salem, and so the full circle moment this year when they came on board of our team was awesome. a company from Winston-Salem. My grandfather worked there for most of his life. He worked on the lathe. And if you've ever opened a pack of cigarettes, there's an aluminum foil wrap. He was the one that would do like thin that aluminum all the way down so it wrapped around the cigarette. So that's what
crazy.
Paul did. He was an amazing
Artist.
metal artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had all these laser cut or like flame cut metal art that he had built. But he was awesome. Bit of a hippie and a wild man. And so Miss Paul, he passed away right when we got together.
Yeah, right when we first started dating, he died around in May.
Yeah, he had emphysema.
It's almost been 14 years, I guess.
Yep.
Or yeah, I did meet him.
Yeah,
He was,
that was awesome.
Like
yeah.
I met him when he was in hospice.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting. We've lost some grandparents and relatives and had to experience that together.
Yeah.
And had to experience a whole lot together.
Yes.
I feel like our 10-year marriage, our 13-year relationship, we've managed to cram in what a lot of people do experience in a lifetime. We've sort of fast forwarded for good and bad. It's been hard, but ultimately really good.
Yeah.
And I want to take it to some of the questions that people have asked, but yeah, so when we started dating, to tell a little bit about like how we met, because I always ask people how we met. So
Is this a question from somebody?
these are, no,
Okay.
I just was pulling them up, but a lot of people did ask, tell us how y'all met.
Who asked?
So Camel 9215.
Some of these names are going to be funny. People are creative.
That is, but there's been more than that one. Yeah, Lindsay Ann, she asked, how did we meet and how do we juggle the traveling together? And just a bunch of how did you meet? TKU bus.
Well, you want to...
Anyway, so we met, like Ty was saying, we met when we were 15 at the summer shootout in 07. And my brothers and I grew up racing, and we would race just sort of as like a hobby, but my brothers did want to sort of chase the NASCAR dream. My brothers raced, and we would travel all over the country. So we raced quarter midgets, and then they raced legends and some other types of things, and I don't really know what they did beyond that. That's kind of where we stopped. But anyway, we were racing that summer shootout in 07, and we were parked next to Ty. And then that was when you met my family and my brothers, and they'd be bored and want to go do something, and you invited them over one time, and I remember them saying you were funny, and you guys played Guitar Hero. That was... You guys played Guitar Hero, and they thought that you were super funny how you would do the, like, whammy bar, star power.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they had never played it, so they just thought that was really funny. Anyway, and then fast forward a couple years later, so we did the whole summer shootout, then we went back home to Washington. We had rented a house that whole summer, so we were here, and I briefly saw Ty, but I always joke that you were, like, 6 inches shorter than me, and like had braces and were kind of chunky, and like
I was digging the pastries at that time, we could say.
Yeah, we were loving the carbs at that
bit of a dough
stage.
boy.
Yeah.
And you looked just as beautiful and stunning as you do now at
15.
At 15.
I don't know. I was a little girl, but still.
Not to me.
As
I was looking at you at the corner of my eye because I was so scared to look in your direction. But
I like briefly remember seeing you walking from your trailer at one point, and that is my only real memory of you.
Yeah, I remember. I literally remember strategically like trying to see you without moving my head. So yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah.
We probably have somewhere we need to like dig up in your mom's photos if there's one of us in the background of each other's photos that summer. But
I wonder if that was like True Religions kind of stuff.
definitely,
True
you
Religion
were
clothes,
rocking the
probably Affliction.
BKE and the True Religion and stuff.
And then I probably had cowboy boots maybe on at that time.
I don't know, but
that.
I know you had like long hair
Yeah.
and braces. Anyway, you kind of have that going now.
Nope.
I floofed it. Yeah. So anyway, then fast forward a couple years, my middle brother Nick, he came back out and he wanted to race the Legends Million. So he was he did that, and then he went out again anyway. I'm ruining the story. And then he stayed out here for a while, and one of the only he lived here for like a year with Adam Brown.
Yep.
And you were like one of the only other people he knew, and you guys would hang out occasionally. And then
I believe I asked him for your number.
I was going to say, you can take
like,
from there.
No, he's kind of slow playing me, like, no. And then I finally reached out on Facebook to you and got your number. And we started talking, like we would
message back and forth on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but like occasionally. And I was in college, and I was kind of like, it was so not on my radar that you and I would actually legitimately date, because I was going to Washington State. I was like super busy, and it just was not even on my radar to like date a guy from North Carolina. But you were very persistent.
Well, I think I was shocked in the fact that you were so kind in your responses to me. Like, you care, like something about the way that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just our connection.
Was there other girls that were not kind?
No. It's just the fact that you would respond different. You would ask questions that were more personal. Like, you just seemed to care more about me. And there's something about the way you've always talked to me that I've been attracted to. And so I pursued you relentlessly.
It is funny because you are like, once we started dating, and now that I know who you are, it is crazy that you did. It was definitely just a God thing.
Yeah. There's something that, I don't know, something about our conversations.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to.
It was definitely like bigger than us, though. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back now, there's the only way we're together and still together is because of like God's divine intervention and connection between us is the reason why any of this happens. We look back at like the little things, just little, even decisions your parents made or outside our own way of how things happened. It's incredible. And it comes to a point where you just know that God is a part of this marriage and a part of the reason why we're together, and it's without a doubt, and that helps us kind of give each other a little reprieve at times, I think, too. It's like just putting God first, and like, hey, he's here, he's in the middle of this, and sometimes we need him more than we need each other to make it through a day.
Yeah, definitely. So. Have you seen that, like, it's a trend right now on Instagram, on Reels, where it's like a couple and they say, like, the butterfly effect is crazy, because what do you mean if I hadn't sat next to this guy in 7th grade math class, we wouldn't now have 3 kids or whatever?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to begin, because like the butterfly effect has been so long of the decisions that had to be made for you and I to be together. Because it's like going all the way back from like, what do you mean if my parents hadn't gone to a Daytona 500 party and not met Harold Day, who they rented a house from in Kernersville, who painted the track and knew about the summer shootout, and we raced there and met you.
Who picked the parking spots where we ended up beside each other for that summer? Like, crazy.
And the fact that we'd be parked side by side, because if we had been clear across
there's like garages that are like way far away. We would have never seen each other.
We could have been 40 stalls away and never made the Adam Brown connection, never become friends. It's just crazy. And like little things like that are so God. Okay, what do you do when you have to pee in the car?
Who asked that? Everybody?
Everyone. We'll get into some of these.
So this took a left turn from our story to...
We take left turns.
For those out there, everybody asks this question.
It's the most common thing people ask me.
Yeah, everybody asks this question as they are like, as if I've never heard it before, and they might be the like, I'm sorry that this might be the weirdest question, but just so you know, everyone asks this question. It is not uncommon, and I have never flawless streak, peed in my suit or peed in a race car.
I've told him that he needs.
She wants me to do it. I think at times. Like, she's just like,
I would look forward to it.
I can't do it. It's a mental block. I've had races that I've been in severe pain holding it
That's
back.
what I don't get. Is he'll get out of the car and you'll be in agony.
I just don't want to sit and pee. Hot pee, you know. I feel
like it would flush out.
It doesn't. It just soaks in. It's just awful.
There's not like a hole in the bottom of the seat.
No.
Okay, that's different because then it's like boiling under your ass.
Yeah, there's a lot of grossness about it, but there are plenty of drivers, and we've had conversations with them that like, and they do it all the time.
Every time.
One specific, we won't say his name, but he'll know if him or his family are watching. Every time he says,
so that narrows it down.
Every time he says there's a red flag, you know that he's
like, just know,
yeah,
I'm peeing right now.
And now we can't go through a red flag without me thinking about it. So no, I have a flawless streak, and usually it's not even an issue because it's so hot in the car and it's so sweaty that you're sweating out the amount of electrolytes, and I've done it long enough to understand kind of my level before the car. But hack, if you're ever at a track and have garage passes or hot passes, you can probably get every driver in the field's autograph that you want if you sit beside the porta-johns on pit road between the driver introductions and the national anthem. Almost every one of us are going to go kind of empty the tank before. So that's a great little hack.
I think it was Atlanta, or what one was it? It was like you and John Hunter were waiting, and like Larson comes out, you go in, John Hunter's waiting there. Yeah. It was just like,
well, I've been in the lines. Yeah, there's lines of like 8 or 9 of us in a row, just like, come on, let's go. And then there'll be like one person that's a fan, like, you know, going big potty or something in there. It's like, all right, brother, let's go. You know, we gotta go. Hurry up. So, sorry if that's happened.
That's funny. Okay. What is your favorite thing about each other?
My favorite thing? My favorite thing about you is just how funny you are. I mean, you and I can...
My favorite thing about you is when I make you laugh. No,
no, I mean, we can drive, when we have driven for 4 or 5 hours down the road and just talk or not talk or laugh. And it's easy.
Yeah.
Even though this is hard to do because we're doing a podcast.
We feel so awkward sitting next to each other.
But you've always made conversation and being around you easy, and I don't want to be with anybody else. I think that's what I love. And your smoke show. So that's awesome too. So I get to wake up next to you every day. But you truly are, and this is no BS. You're my best friend. Like, there isn't really anybody else that I'm wanting to call up and hang out with. I want to do, if something's on our schedule or something cool's coming up, I want to do it with you first. And if you're too busy for me, then I'll find a friend or someone else that can do it, or take one of our kids. But you're my best friend, and that's my favorite quality. And doesn't mean we always get along, but we do most of the time. You know, we just have an easy.
I also think it's important to like fight, even though I hate it when we're fighting. But like, it definitely, where the fire is there.
Yeah,
like,
there's got to be a little spice. I mean, as long as we try to. I mean, we've done it so much counseling. We've been through so much, and we have fought unhealthily against each other. And
even knowing when you're fighting unhealthy, though, is almost
just being aware.
Good.
Yeah,
you know,
just
like,
kind of being aware, like, okay, I'm super mad.
Yeah,
I don't
like even in the middle of it when I'm like, this is not how this needs to be done. Like, to be aware that what we're doing is wrong. Even that is like, I'd say, a good step. A healthy thing. But
but that has come with a lot of figuring it out, you know. And I think for us, marriage counseling was huge. You know,
definitely
doing therapy together.
I have therapy.
And understanding kind of, just kind of rules that we kind of have. We kind of have these like underlying rules that we've developed in our marriage of like, it's unfair, like fighting unfair, you know.
Yeah, one thing that is important to us is we don't ever say the D word, divorce. We don't ever say that. I say it for the example, but like, that's just so off limits in a fight, or like in a
I think
Ever.
it's
We
just
just don't
for
say
our
that.
marriage. And
Yeah.
I think for us, it's like we're in this till we die.
Yeah.
Whether we don't like each other and we have to live on other sides of the houses for a little bit,
Yeah.
or the house, we're not leaving each other. And that takes pressure off the fight. And like when you're
Yeah.
throwing that word around or you're threatening each other with that,
Yeah.
and we haven't always had that rule in our marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that
We didn't really say
we
it
didn't
before.
do that, but
We-
like I think we had a lot more pressure on each other in the past, maybe
Yeah.
about the way we fought. And I feel like it takes pressure off to be like, no matter what, no matter how mad you don't like me, you're not getting rid of me.
Yeah,
I'm not getting rid of you.
exactly.
You're stuck with me, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna annoy you until we get it figured out. And I think that has relieved some pressure on us. Maybe that doesn't make sense to other people, but I think for us, we've
No,
kind of
just like
moved on to
taking that completely off the table.
Yeah,
It is completely off the table.
absolutely.
So it's like just
Yeah.
a relief.
Yeah,
I'd say that is like my favorite thing about you is that you are so committed to everything. Like
yeah,
you're so hardworking and like persistent and like stubborn in a great way of whether it's our marriage for sure, you're being a father and then racing, which I think it comes in that order even, but like that's my favorite thing is that you're just very, and also too, on like a more sort of silly practical, if I give this man a to-do list, he cannot do anything else until it's immediately done. So like if I'm not ready for the house to be like picked up and destroyed, I won't put that thing on the to-do list. But if I'm like I want to gut the downstairs bathroom, he would have a hammer out in 5 minutes. Like you have to get shit done immediately.
If it's a task that's been laid before me,
Yeah.
I think one thing like
You love a to-do list.
I don't do well with like subtle hints.
I don't like a
I don't
to-do
do-
list.
yeah.
I'm just like, let's
It's there.
No, I like a to-do list, but I don't like the, well, what do you want me to do specifics? Like, I'm like, look around at what needs
Find
to
the
be
project.
done and figure it out. Like,
That's where we're like. That's where our yin
because
and yang kind
he'll
of
be
line
like,
up.
should I bathe the kids and then you do the dishes? And I'm like, why don't we just do all of it all together?
To know
So that
order.
it gets
There needs to be order.
done.
I feel like
I don't know.
that's where like our differences line up and make us a couple, right? It's like you have such a beautifully abstract
Oh my
mind.
god! I
Like
you
an
know
artist
in
and-
Canto,
yeah.
the house that is like the vines growing. That's my brain, and your brain is like red box, blue square.
Maybe a better way to put it
like,
is if you give Haley a blank piece of paper and a pen,
Yeah.
and say doodle,
I'd
she
have-
will come up. She has like 5 different doodles that she has these beautiful things.
Everyone has like a doodle, right? Like I draw this little dog doodle. I'll draw
give
it right now,
me a
and
piece
he
of
can't
paper,
draw a doodle.
And it's
That's
just
a-
straight
that
lines
disturbs me.
that turn into like smaller boxes and straighter lines, and like my brain doesn't work that way. So
It's so
when
weird.
when you're like, sometimes you'll get like, hey, I want you to get some stuff done around the house today. Well, that doesn't work for me. I need like, babe, give me a list. I need like boom, 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 and that works for me. And I don't know, it's just the way my brain works. And I feel like structure allows me to plan ahead, and I like to be able to plan ahead to create space. I don't know. As she's doing her doodle.
I'm literally almost done with it. That's how quick I can do my little cat dog doodle.
And it's awesome.
That's looks really good.
Yeah, the Carey family art genes run deep.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I like some structure, and I think sometimes
Structure.
not like structure, like a structured plan, like a bulleted plan of how we're gonna go forward helps me.
Planned for you.
Plan for me helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I had something else I was gonna say. Oh, I guess I didn't need to bring it up, but I feel like some of my stubbornness and needing to like finish something has probably elevated some of our arguments where it's like I can't let it go, like we need to finish this
Yeah.
now. But also I think it helps us too because we are not like the couple that passive aggressively throws shots at each other because we're deeply actually upset about something. We're like, we will get it, let's get it out on the table. and let's get it over with. Like we're not big on letting things fester. Like, let's go ahead and talk it out. I've got a problem. I'm going to tell you about it. And if it upsets you and we have to have intense conversation about it, then okay. But I'd rather do that and not have anything lingering under the table between either one of us, because we can't be on the same team as well as we are. We have chaos in our house with 3 kids and
and you're very good about that, in the sense of, you're like, what's the vibe right now? I can't read what's going on. Like, you'll say that to me if you know I'm off, and there is so much to be said for not fixing it and just being a listening ear.
I struggle on that a lot.
That is something, but like,
I've gotten better.
But like, just the other day when we were having a fight, you were like, what is it? And I'm like, I have 50 things right now that I could unload on you. And like, I'm like,
tell me.
I'm annoyed about this soccer camp and this neighbor and this outfit, and I feel ugly, and what, like, I just ran.
By the way, any of our neighbors were
there was no neighbor. That was never a thing. That wasn't part of it. I was just trying to come up with like a plethora of things, and it's like, unload a ton of things on you. And sometimes that's important, like, to just be a listening ear. But we don't let things fester. And
you've helped me with that a lot too. Of like, I hold frustrations in sometimes.
Yeah, you didn't used to be that way.
Now
you would
it's like
keep everything inside.
Yeah, now it's like, okay, I need to unload.
Yeah.
And I'll get annoyed with myself, but it definitely helps me to unload every frustration or worry or stress that I have.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
Yeah.
Doing life with your best friend helps.
I have 2 similar questions out of Washington State.
Okay.
How fabulous is his mother-in-law? And then, who is your favorite aunt? That's coming from Karen Pappas and Jackie Carey. Oh, yes. And they are sisters. They have the exact same question. Is that freaking funny or what? Oh my
gosh.
Karen goes, who's your favorite aunt? This is my mom's sister. My mom goes, how fabulous is his mother-in-law? I thought that was funny. Yes.
2 of my favorite people in the world.
Favorite people.
Yep.
Okay, wait.
Are we answering that question? Or are we?
No, that's so silly.
Oh, well, they are the best people in the world.
We love.
Yeah, your mom is one of my favorite people in the world. She has such a beautiful light that she carries around in her, and she's funny and fun, and I love the relationship that you guys have too.
I get my sense of humor, and she is my best friend as well. She's a close second.
Yeah.
If you weren't racing, if he wasn't in NASCAR, what would he like to do for a living?
Can you answer this one? I want to see what your answer would be before I give my answer.
So if we were like financially set up in such a way that you could go do exactly what you wanted to do, even if not,
I would.
If your wife would just support you to be, to be doing whatever it is that you want to do,
which you would, I think.
I would. Yeah. I don't even know why I like prefaced it like that. But you want to do your like ultimate dream would be to do something in sports, probably football, and your first thing would be to try and tackle that. But you've even said, like, I would work for free, I would do whatever it is to try and work my way up. Mm-hmm. You previously wanted to be a GM of a football team. That is something that was always like a thought of yours, but I think anything in that realm, you've met now and have some GM friends of football teams or previously and GMs, and so you've kind of like seen a little bit more behind the scenes. But wouldn't you say that is something you would love to do? Yeah,
for sure. I always love sports, and I've always been fascinated with the front office aspects. So general manager, like the cap space, scouting, all the building of teams. I love building teams. And I've always had a fascination of it, probably since I was, I don't even know, 10, 11 years old, when I got my first Madden game or video game where I could take players from other teams or find other players and find diamonds in the rough. I love seeing people develop in sports.
You love an underdog story.
I love an underdog story. I love development.
Story.
Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, I feel like it applies to my career too. So
Yeah.
I've just always been fascinated about it, and that's something that I can spend hours on and never feel tired of learning about it. And I have this, like, your dad picks on me, and he'll be like, "Yep, I bet." Ask Ty what college this random player of any sport went to,
typically
and
know.
I usually know a backstory. It's just something
Yeah.
that my brain
Yeah.
gets, and I have a passion for that. But racing is definitely the forefront of my focus, and I've been getting involved with some of my grandfather's companies, the winery, Children's Vineyards, and the race team more, and diving into more of that. But I think, if there was ever an opportunity later on, hopefully after I win a couple championships, to be involved with some big front office of a major sports team, that is my goal. I'm always trying, or not goal, a goal that I would like to have at one point, whether I have to intern for free just to get my foot in the door at the Panthers would be the ultimate, or the Seahawks, because our families are there. But that is something that I one day it could happen, because I'm not afraid to take that chance, because it is something that, I don't know, I'm just passionate about us pursuing the things that we've always dreamed of. So.
Yeah, you've been so supportive of me wanting to be an actress and go for that. And
You are an actress.
I know, I just mean you've been so supportive of that,
Yeah.
of me wanting to do that and doing it. And I just think that beyond racing too, I know you have so many dreams with that, with possibly working on a sports team of some fashion, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like racing will end one day.
Yeah.
But life for us is gonna continue, and we're gonna be prepared for that next chapter, and still want to. I want to give up ever to the day you and I die, like chasing dreams. I think that's what gets you out of bed, is like pursuing life
and learning.
and learning.
That's something
growing.
too. I think that we so we had a very like pivotal moment in our relationship that was kind of the like before us and the after us. And I feel like we have that a lot of that was coming to know Christ and giving our lives to Jesus and our relationship to God, even though he was there, but he obviously had a beautiful plan for our lives, but like we were not putting him first. And so I feel like there was like the before us and the after us. And there were so many like pivotal things that happened to us to create that relationship with God. But I feel like when that happened and you kind of started to know Jesus, I feel like your before mentality, mine too, I think both of us thought like we knew everything. We're so smart and like so, had such a different level of like arrogance or something, and I think that like what we've learned more than anything from that is that I know nothing. I never want to stop learning.
Yeah.
And like that is something that you and I both have that is, I think, unique about us. Like that's something I always ask girls, like, what's something about you guys that people wouldn't know? And I think that there's something to be said for like you and I never want to stop learning. And like you're very much the person to be like, no, I don't know, I might have this wrong, but this is my thought about something. Like you're so not entitled, egotistical in that way. And that's probably one of my favorite things about you is like your humility.
Well, that came from failing, from being egotistical, and I guess almost the first third of our marriage now. Let's say a third, or it's not half anymore. It's about a third. I thought I had achieved everything that I needed to do in life, and I was miserably egotistical and so into myself, and it was awful. Like I didn't have much that I felt like left to live for, and I lived that way, and I was a miserable person, not a good husband at all. And after the things we went through, and really understanding who Jesus is in my life, and what what am I proud of myself is more kind of what it broke down to is like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't believe in anything. I didn't really know Jesus, didn't have that relationship, didn't know who he called me. And once you learn that and you kind of rebuild your life and like, for me, I didn't, I was like, I would get in the race car back then and I told you this is like, if I crashed and didn't come out, like I was like okay with it at that time, which seems so dark.
yeah,
And now I can't imagine a worse thought because I have so much life to live
yeah.
and like
So much to live for.
so much to live for, so much to see and accomplish. Now we have these three kids that I just can't wait to see just crush it in life and
Yeah,
be there to cheer them on and just be the wind in their sails
yeah,
because they're awesome and we get to do that together. So if nothing else manifests as far as
yeah.
my goals and my career and hobbies and everything else, I've got these amazing kids and a
I
wife
know.
that I can be the wind in their sails too. So God has absolutely changed my life in that way. It came to me breaking down to the end of myself and needing to change a lot,
Yeah,
needing to just get out of my own head,
yeah.
get out of my own way, and realize that like
It takes such a strong man to go, I don't have the right friends that are walking in the light. I need to not be friends with these people and graciously, let go of certain relationships. I'm going to not take these habits anymore or do these things anymore. I'm going to pour into my relationship with my wife, with my kids. Like that is a real man that will humble yourself and like not be afraid to change and
yeah.
do therapy and work on yourself, and you've certainly done that. I mean, you're a completely different person.
I would say I was very much a boy when we were
Yeah,
together, and I acted like a boy and made childish mistakes and decisions, and I knew the one thing is that I wanted to be with you, and I didn't want to lose that, even though I was,
yeah,
hanging by the threads at points. And it took restructuring my life, and it's biblical of like pruning away these dead limbs in my life
yeah.
that were
It's
not
a
bringing me
beautiful
life;
way
they
to
were
put it.
just hurting me. And in that time of like changing my life and diving into who is God and who is Jesus in my life, and just trying to learn what what does this mean to me and what is my relationship with God, and like it was for me for in a year or so span it was like me and God, and you and I were having a tough time. We were still
Yeah,
fighting for it, but it was like it was that was all I had. I got everything in my life was
yeah,
gone, and it was just that, and I was figuring it out. And then since then, God has brought these beautiful relationships
yeah.
and friendships and new things, and made some things that were old new and better. And so, man, I mean, all this is really just to say that like God can make everything new in your
Yeah,
life and better, and give you a new perspective, a new outcome. And he's done it majorly in my life, and then now it's so cool how it's happening in people around
I
our
know,
life.
it's
Like,
so cool.
so
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we don't really talk much without bringing up God, so this
I
is
know. I
kind
don't
of
even know
faith.
what our question like
Yeah,
turned us to this,
yeah.
but yeah,
And I think too is just like knowing that like we're not perfect people. We're going to continue to make mistakes. Um, but if we make them in the right way, like with humility and understanding that we're forgiven, that we get a new chance to live tomorrow and try a little bit better and try to get a little bit better and be better every single day. And yeah, I love that saying. Like, I know this is something that Judah says and some of those guys, but it's like better at 70. But like,
yeah,
you have the rest of our life ahead of us to continue
yeah,
to get better, not put so much pressure on ourselves, but to live with intention and purpose.
yeah,
Yeah, and not make it so much about living for yourself. It really
yeah.
changes life.
I think that just having the mindset of like our best days are always ahead of us.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
we just have so much to look forward to. And
Yeah,
I have no idea what that is,
yeah,
but I know we have so much to look
yeah.
forward to. Um, okay, well, who is your hero?
Hero, Jesus. Let's say that was an easy one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I am a fan of a lot of people, not a whole lot of heroes.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus is my superhero. Like, that's what I
Yeah,
put everything
definitely.
through. I'm a fan of people. I admire the way people live their life and do things and certain sports figures. But I think hero is Jesus to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Hero is.
I don't put that kind of pressure on anybody in my life or in this world to have to be like perfect. You know,
Definitely.
like, because
Is that how a hero almost feels?
Yeah,
Is
it's
like a perfect model.
that's
And that,
always gonna
and
do
you
the
know
right
everyone's
thing.
gonna fall short. Like we're all not perfect, but
Sinners are gonna sin. We're all
Yeah.
imperfect, you know, and we're all at some point we're gonna let each other down in some way, and it's like it's easier to give people forgiveness, I think.
Yeah.
When you don't put so much pressure on them to be perfect.
yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. You read
Pick one?
and pick one.
these are so good. So there's a couple. Any more babies? Is Bear your last one?
Oh gosh,
We have any more children?
That's
Kimberly,
it.
2766 asked.
that's a yes.
Which I asked this
we
yesterday
will.
at the golf course.
We will have a fourth.
All right, yes, for sure. I mean, so I said, my response is weird because,
We're both like,
yeah,
Wait.
we have been like, up until probably the last month, it was like, okay, we're definitely having a fourth,
yeah.
for sure.
This last month has been challenging.
Bear
Bear
has
is-
become a full embodiment of his name. I mean, the dude is a beast as a 1-year-old, and
Yeah.
he is just like,
He's
he
a
is the
bear.
happiest, sweetest baby. He's not,
Totally happy, but
like,
he's just
sleeps well and everything. But he is just an animal. Like, the dude is so
Yeah.
physical. Like,
he's like aggressive, but in a sweet way.
and we fly, you know, just backstory, we fly on, I think it's like 50 to 70 seater regional jets. So, like, if you're flying from Charlotte to Atlanta, it's a smaller airplane. If you're flying commercial, that's the kind
Like
of plane.
two seats on one seat on the other. Like
Yeah. That's the kind of
two
planes
on one
that
side, one on the other.
our race teams charter, and we have 3 seats, 4 seats that we.
We do four
seats.
and Bear's a lap child. Yeah,
There's a lap child, and
he's quickly becoming a fifth seat
yeah,
because
so
he's an animal. Like if we could lock him down
Yeah.
and put him in a car seat, it would be so much easier.
and most of our flights are an hour to 2 hours, and the older 2 kids have flown so much they do really good.
Yeah,
But you and I are constantly passing Bear like back and
Yeah.
forth over the seats, and he's crawling and
At this point, we so don't care about like the germiness of it, and he's crawling up and down the aisles
We're
and
not big
touching
germaphobes,
everything.
yeah.
I mean, we're just like, sorry, we're the.
and that's just like one example. Like, but
But it's been, if it wasn't for
the fact that we do
Racing,
have to travel 30
traveling,
times a year like that.
yeah, and if we want to bring the kids, it's that
And that's
travel
important to us.
situation,
It's like
of
we
course.
don't want to not do it together.
And we love it. If it wasn't for that, I swear we'd have a fourth right now. Like we wouldn't be scared to like
Yeah.
even start trying, or we wouldn't have had our kids spread out the ages they are, even though I love it. But like we would have a fourth would be such an easy, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And kind of get it over with. I hate that
Yeah.
when people say that because it's like amazing. But like we certainly have to wait until we're in a little bit of a different stage.
Yeah, and I
have
think
a
something that we've grown in, and maybe we've been this way, is like we're not rash decision makers.
No.
Especially with our babies. Like
Yeah.
3 years apart with each one. Wasn't necessarily something we predetermined. It was just kind of like the time in which we realized, okay, we're ready for another
Yeah,
one.
like
and we're
when's
only
it
a year
feel right?
into this little guy.
Yeah.
And, we've talked about maybe if we had a fourth, having it a little quicker. But
Do you think that you would get a vasectomy down the road?
if we were done, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's such a hard decision to make.
Yeah. I mean, I
It's
think
like
we wouldn't do it.
Dakota.
I don't know if we'd do it right away. Like,
Maybe wait 5 years.
we'd wait and just make sure,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years, so I mean, we've been pretty good.
The reason
Pretty good. planning.
doing this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah.
getting pregnant,
Yeah.
it's been more than 10 years, babe.
Well,
about-
yeah, that's true. Yeah, not giving away the whole secret to the, but no, it's
Anyway.
no, but yeah. So I think I don't know. I've joked that as soon as they roll you out, they could roll me in on number 4, but I don't
Yeah.
think that's how it's really going to go. I don't know.
No.
We're not big. We don't want to make a decision.
I think that Dakota has, for me, made that like the whole permanent decision
Yeah.
because my parents they just didn't know, and my dad never didn't get one, and my mom was on birth control, and at that point in time she had a 10-year IUD, and which is like, I don't know if they do them for that long anymore, but anyway, so she got that after me. 10-year-old Haley, she like goes to get it switched, and they're like, okay, what form of birth control? And she's like, well, I think that we might try and have a baby. And they like totally made her feel like an old lady, and that something, that's like not right to do. They're like, well, what would you do if you got pregnant? She's like, I think I want to get pregnant. Anyway,
yeah. And that also,
I just have a lot of like listeners. We always talk about babies and stuff, but like that made my parents, when I was 10, started trying with Dakota because they knew they wanted to have another. I'm not saying I would want to do that, but it's just, you just never know.
Also, like Dakota being in your life at that time as a baby shaped your life differently too.
I know.
Like, which is kind of a cool thought to think of, like our kids maybe being older. But I don't know. We'll get to that bridge when we cross it.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, here you asking.
Shout out to Dakota. It was your birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Another one?
Yeah.
Where's your top from?
I don't know what top I was wearing when I posted.
I hit something on your phone. Okay, here we go. Why is it not moving? Okay.
It's just a screenshot.
Does Ty ever cook? We can answer this one. Very rarely. But my go-to is I can do good steaks.
He can cook my favorite dinner.
Steaks, artichokes, mashed potatoes. I can also do salmon, rice, and arugula. Shout out.
That's how we call it as like a family.
I know, but that's how they need to hear it because that's
okay.
What it
That's
is.
how you know it.
That's what I cooked myself.
But salmon, rice, and arugula sounds weird. So it's like
salmon.
We do salmon and kind of like a Asian flair type of salmon, and then rice.
However you want to go about
however you
making
do,
your rice.
Want to do your rice.
Yeah.
and
arugula with a little bit of
a little arugula salad.
And maybe some avocado chopped up there.
Yeah, I don't know how this even began, the salad, or the salmon, rice, and arugula.
That meal is very special to me.
Yeah,
it got me through
to make this meal.
Every single race during COVID. We had to leave. We had our motorhome driver drop it off on Wednesday. We raced on Sunday. But nobody was allowed to be at the track. Haley couldn't go. No family members, nobody. So we would go to the racetrack and be there like 8 hours early is what they would have us be there because you had to do a COVID test. If you didn't pass, have time for somebody to...
You did COVID tests during that?
We didn't, but I don't know why that's what they told us why we had to be there.
I was just going to say
now that I think about it,
I think that just became like a verbiage that
maybe
was easy to say, but I'm like, wait, I don't remember.
Maybe that's just what we told people. But... we had to be there.
I do.
They wanted us there like 6 to 8 hours early. Was like
done one
the
at
protocol.
Some point when there was like a
can't
flare or somebody had it. Anyway.
So that's what I would make myself. Was we have a little like convection oven in the motorhome thing, and that was something that was like an easy meal that I could just bring with me and make it in the motorhome, and so me and that meal bonded over a whole year.
Yeah, over a season.
That was the only thing I really had going on.
I can't believe you still want it. I can't believe that you...
Well, it's Oakley's favorite now.
Yeah, she loves salmon.
She's our adventurous eater.
And Bear loves salmon.
And then Captain
very fitting.
Doesn't love anything to eat.
Yeah.
He likes protein shakes. He's our little science project. Mm-hmm. Favorite date night? Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, I want to know your answer to that.
Who made the first move? Okay, we'll do both. So I got 3 on this one. So favorite date night. We'll start with first move because first move leads into what our favorite date night is. So, I, kind of long story short, kept telling Haley to come to a race. She was like, "No, you're not." When we were dating, you're not flying me out to a race. It's not my deal. It's not who I am. But if you want to come meet me, you can come to Seattle. And her whole family and Adam Brown, who we mentioned earlier, our close friend, we're coming out to her parents' place for New Year's. They have a cabin up in Cle Elum, Washington. It wasn't Cle Elum at the time. That one was at Lake Cheese. And but you can come hang out. There's kind of like a party, and we'll get to know each other, whatever. So
he really was adamant about getting together, and I was like, I am not coming to you. You can come to me if you want to come to Washington. And he was like, okay, when? And I was like, oh my gosh, he won't let up.
So called her bluff, flew to Washington.
Goes to Washington.
And met at the cabin. And we met at the...
No, we picked you up at the airport.
Yeah, we did talk like a week before for like 5 hours on the phone and really knew that we were like in love with each other.
I knew I was going to marry you.
Yeah, he wrote that.
Did you know you were going to marry me?
Yeah, I knew there was.
To get this
it was
nailed.
like I didn't write it down in a journal and surprise you with it in our wedding like you did. But
okay, let me back up because this is an amazing story.
Yeah, can't skip over this part.
This was all about who made the first move.
Oh,
sorry, we're telling such an elaborate story about it. But anyway.
Yeah, you ask us to talk. We can get going after a while.
So when we were just messaging back and forth, he had, I was like, if you want to come to me, you can, but I'm not going to fly to a race or anything like that. Like, if you want to do that. So then he was like, okay, let's do it when? And I was like, well, Adam's planning on coming out for New Year's, and he's a mutual friend. And if this doesn't like work with you and I, in my mind, I'm like, okay, at least Adam will be there. He can hang out with my brothers. It won't be super awkward. There'll be a lot of people there. So that was sort of the game plan. But I was like, before you book a flight, do you want to talk to me on the phone? And like, because we had only ever messaged on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I was like, do you want to talk over the phone and like actually hear each other's voices? Like, we've not spoken.
Yeah.
And so we scheduled to talk. My parents were going out for their anniversary. I was watching Dakota, who was like 5 at the time. And we were going to talk. I'm like, call me at 9:00 and I'll have put Dakota to bed and then we'll talk. And we talked for 5 hours. And like I said, I wrote down in my journal that night that I thought I was like falling in love with you. I thought I was going to marry you and couldn't believe it. Like, it was unreal, the connection and the like, wow, this is different. Like, for sure, I don't know how, but I'm going to marry him. Yeah. And it was like, doesn't make any sense. I live in this little small town in Washington and he lives all the way across the country in North Carolina, and this is going to be so complicated. And anyway, then we did start dating, and we'll tell more about like the first move thing or whatever, but we did start dating. And then 3 years later, 2 years later, he proposes. We're planning a wedding. I go back to Washington around Easter and looked in my journal, and we had already picked a wedding venue. We didn't even want the date we had picked. We wanted 12, 13, 14 because that was the date, and it was the weekend before, and the people wouldn't budge. We like tried to switch with them. Yeah. So it was 12, 20, 14. And I went back and I had written in my journal, I was like, I'm going to look and see what I wrote that night, because I swear I said I wanted to marry him. And it was 12/20. It was December 20th, which ended up being the day we had chosen to get married. So then in our wedding, we decided to write our own vows, and I took that piece of paper out of my journal and I read what I had written in my journal that night. I read that to him in our wedding vows.
And I was already ugly crying at that point in our wedding, and when she said that, I like went into super ugly, embarrassing crying.
He was like...
At that, so still makes me cry watching it now, but yes.
You were crying
so
hard. Anyway, sorry.
Back to first move.
When you first came out to Washington, I would say I made the first move. And I'm going to say what the move was that was the first move.
Okay.
We're
at the Space Needle, by the way.
No.
That move. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
You got in the car.
Yeah.
I immediately held your hand.
Yeah. Immediately.
Wouldn't you say that was like it's on?
Yeah, for sure.
So that was the first move.
Yes.
Then we went from there straight to the Space Needle.
Yeah.
Because we had like an hour to kill, because we were going to pick up our friend, Adam's wife, Courtney, at the airport. Anyway, we had an hour to kill. We went up to the Space Needle. I was like, well, let's go. And we go up there. And then it was like, how would we not kiss?
That picture
we do. It's right there.
Yeah, that's it. Didn't Courtney take this picture?
Yeah. So this was
Somebody took this picture,
this
yeah.
was later after
That was
I
us. That was later. Yeah, we had to pick them up because we weren't old enough to go to the club, and they went to the club. And we had to
Yeah,
go
we
pick
had to
them
go pick her up at the airport, and they had some drinks, and we were 19.
That was that night. Yeah.
So Courtney took that after
Yeah.
I had to then drive and get
Yeah.
her. But we went to the Space Needle, and then we were looking out over downtown Seattle, and you like kissed my
I
head.
put my arm around you, like we were kind of
Yeah.
like, kind of
Definitely
hugging.
snuggling, and you kissed my head,
Yeah.
and then I looked up, and then we made out.
Right there, and then I feel like your brother and Adam
were-
walked around
and
the
they went,
corner,
"Oh!"
and then we went back the other way. Yeah, it was great. So yeah,
So whatever you call that, but I think
Yeah.
I made
it's pretty mutual.
it was mutual. But
You did
yeah.
make the first move with the
Okay, our
handhold.
favorite date night is probably
What's our go-to?
1, 2, 3.
Epic Chop House.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here in Mooresville. That's our go-to.
great.
We split
And
the
what do we
smoking
order?
hot couple.
Yeah.
Is
because
our that's what we split. It's
mean-
steak and shrimp, and then we get the
It's-
the Kung Pao shrimp or something that they do, and then we have
so good.
banana Foster's bread pudding for dinner. And the only thing that we really venture off on is like what cocktails we might have or
I
glasses
pretty
of
much
wine.
always get a paper plane.
Well, she doesn't.
Um,
I'll venture around.
I love
I was gonna read Blake's.
I know.
Okay.
Blake Cook.
Blake Cook, one of my close friends.
How did he stay driven to race during the difficult times with no ride? I'm gonna take a pause and say, if you don't have filter time, you need to sign up for it right now. It's amazing. It comes to your door, and this is not a paid sponsorship, Blake Cook. Anyway,
Filter time. Yeah, air
It's
filters.
amazing.
Husbands, dads who change their air filters in their house. You measure them out, send them the measurements for your filters in your house, and when it's time, they will send them automatically when it is time for you to change your filter. So they just show up at your house, ready to change out.
makes it very like effortless.
It is awesome.
Well, you still have to change them, but
It is a little bit of effort, but it's a lot less than going to the store and finding the right ones. And they send you the best. They have the best quality. Send them to your door at the time that you need to change them.
and
So,
they do it. You can do it like once a month or every quarter. We do it quarterly. They're amazing. Anyway,
shout out Blake. Love
shout
you, dude.
out Blake.
And this question's from Blake, and he has a lot to do with this question. So, my career has not been very, I guess, linear in success
Yeah.
and growth, but I don't think anything in life is really that way. And so, my first 4 years, like we talked about, were an eye-opener for me. I raced for Germain Racing. Geico was my sponsor. I had won a bunch of races. It was one of the popular names coming out into the Cup Series. And, that team had never really won races in the past. And my rookie year, we probably had one of their best seasons they ever had. But for me, it was quite a shock to be running, 18th to 24th and that being an okay thing. And that was kind of how my first 4 years went. And it was a very comfortable situation. We were making great money at the time, and had some security, and actually had a 5th year on the contract that we were all hoping and were planning on happening. And I think everything was going in that direction. And then our sponsor Geico ended up leaving our race team and going to NASCAR, sponsoring the sport. And the fallback was that Germain Racing shut down, and everybody didn't have a job.
And it kind of happened late in the
that
season.
time,
It happened
late.
in like September. Usually it's
Yeah.
around July. Everybody starts kind of negotiations.
I'd like
for
to
the
know what you're
next
doing
year.
before September for
Yeah.
the next year, or else it is hard to find a spot. And I had nothing, and I, as we alluded to earlier, I was not the person I am now. I was not a very resilient.
You were then. You were
hopeful.
definitely in.
Was that when our contract ended?
Yeah.
We're just kind of turning the page in that
Yeah,
part of my life.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think, I remember sitting with you and your dad and being like, I don't like.
Yeah.
I
don't
remember
know.
saying like, I'll figure something out. Like maybe it's not racing.
Yeah.
And you guys being like, pretty much like, shut up. Like this is what you are good at it.
Yeah,
Don't let
you
this get
need to
you.
keep
You guys
trying.
like kind of kicked my butt into gear. And I remember you being like, just call everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like why wouldn't you? So I remember sitting out here behind our house and like I called. Okay, first of all, I tried to work with RCR. There was no openings for RCR. Tried like any Chevy connection that I knew, and it didn't
Yeah, I
work
think
out.
a common misconception is like, why don't you race for your grandfather? And like,
Just like the opportunities haven't lined up, I guess, like probably more of a question for him, but
yeah,
like, and not in a bad way. Like, I know that the timing just hasn't worked out for me to race for RCR in the Cup Series full time, even though like it is still something that is I would love to do at some point. Not to say that I'm so happy where I'm at right now in
yeah,
college racing, and
yeah,
hope
it's
to retire
amazing.
there another 10 years down the road, win a bunch of races in the number 10 with Matt Collig and Chris Rice. Those guys have given me another
It's been
opportunity of a
so great.
lifetime, and it's been so fun. And we're rocking and rolling, and things are going good this year. Got to get a little luck on our side with some of these finishes, but that has always been something I've wanted to do, is race for my grandfather. And if it doesn't work out, it's fine. There wasn't an open opportunity with my grandfather at the time, and it just hadn't really planned out. But so I was literally sitting out here calling everybody. I mean, I called Rick Hendrick. Rick Hendrick called me back, left me a voicemail, and said like, "Hey, I appreciate you calling, but like we don't have anything." Which I didn't know what to expect, but you never know
Yeah.
until you ask. And that was kind of like, I would
Talked
tell you
to
like, they're
Jimmy
not going to give me a
Johnson.
chance. And like,
Yeah.
I was actually couldn't believe the amount of people that called me back. I talked to Jimmy Johnson. I talked to
He
Justin
just gave you
Marks.
some really nice advice.
Yep.
And
And
Justin Marks.
and
Coy
eventually,
Gibbs.
yeah, I think the first call that we connected something happening was with Marty Gaunt in Toyota. And we were going to try to put a car together to make the Daytona 500. He wasn't going to run the full season, but we were going to see what we could make happen. And so we locked that in, and that was with Toyota, which for me is a huge, huge deal. To not be with Chevy, like Chevy's all I've ever known. And they really welcomed me in and were so kind and put me right to work. And that was a great experience. We didn't make the race, but it was like, man, we performed so well, and just kind of a technicality on which I think they've changed the rules since then, kind of because of the way that race went for us in the shootout of like how you get in.
Yeah, that format has changed.
I think it has.
That was a weird weekend.
Yeah. And then from
You're
that,
not making that race.
got connected to Coy Gibbs because their relationship with Toyota and Marty and all that. And there was really nothing available anywhere else. And I knew that there was races available on their 54 car. And I talked to Coy, and he really gave me an opportunity. We put some of our own money forward.
Yeah, we paid for it to happen,
Yeah.
but he gave you the
And,
chance
but
to
gave
get in the
us
seat.
at a fair rate. It wasn't
for
like,
sure.
but we literally lost money that year.
Yeah.
Bet on ourselves.
And when I say we, I mean we
Yeah,
paid
we
for
did.
it. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't like your grandpa did it
No,
or something.
it was out of
like,
it was out of our, and those races went pretty good. Like, we ran pretty good. We didn't win.
it was just a matter of like luck.
Crazy stuff again.
Yeah.
But I got to meet so many amazing people, work with different people in different companies, like working with the folks at Gibbs. Like, my journey has given me opportunity to meet so many people and see things from so many different perspectives. I'm so grateful for it, even though it's been hard for both of us to go through it and not really knowing what's next. That was a cool chapter. I think that year I raced for like 6 different teams through all 3 series and ran like 20 something races. By the time it was over, to kind of fast forward it, like ran truck races, just calling different people.
And so how did you stay motivated? Like,
Let's get back to the question.
sorry.
Yeah.
What Blake said. So like,
It was
how
the
did you
people
stay
around.
motivated?
Like, I think it was just Blake was a massive important thing
Yeah.
in my life at that time. Blake was a guy when I was changing my life, and Jesus became the most important thing for me to figure out and understand my relationship, was a guy that I reached out to because
Yeah, he was one of the first people.
yeah, because when I was younger and Blake was kind of a teammate through colleague racing, he was this guy that always brought such a positive, joyful energy every single day. And he had something that I didn't have. And I didn't know what it was. Like, I was fast and winning races, and but Blake had a joy
happiness.
for life.
Yeah.
And when I needed to figure out what was really important in my life, he was the first guy I called. I was like, hey, I'm going to tell you what's going on. I'm going to throw it all on you. Here's where I'm at. And if you can accept me or not, but I want to be around you. I want to get to know you. Hey, like, And I think the avenue we found was like he kind of trained me at that time. He started working me out. Blake's always in top physical shape, and he started coming to the house like every Monday. What was it? How did we do it? Every Monday and Wednesday?
It was literally like Monday through Thursday.
Monday through
you
Thursday,
guys would
training me.
Yeah.
And, I think Blake knows this, but it wasn't just like physical training. He was like my therapist and the friend that I needed to have good conversation with. And having him, having you, having your family, my family, propping me up to keep getting up every day and keep trying and just keep trying, built this, what now feels like an unbeatable resilience that I've just feel like I have now. That's like you and going through kind of the ups and downs and different teams and all the stuff. It's like I have been treated every way I think I could possibly be treated, good or bad, and lied to and faked out, and to where now it's just like, okay, cool, you can beat me up, but you're never gonna knock me down. Like you're never gonna knock me out. So I've just developed a mindset of like, winners are the quitters, or the losers who never quit. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so you will not get me to quit. Whether it's driving in the race car, there's never going to be a day where I wake up and I give up. And I've learned, because so many opportunities have come to me from never giving up.
Yeah.
And even though I wanted to, and thank God for you and the people that he put in my life on the days that I'm like, I'm so done, I'm quitting, I'm done, that he put people in my life like you and our kids and our family to like just get through one more day. I promise you, one more time. Ask one more person for an opportunity. And then it opened a door, and it was like, then you went through these spurts of like, okay, things are coming together. And then it crashes down again. It's like, well, I've been through this. Like, all I know is I need to keep pushing, keep going. And God has continued to bring those opportunities in my life. So faith, and it started with faith and belief in God. And God put people in my life to help me in the moments that I didn't have the strength to do it. And that's just where it's at now, to the point where I'm so grateful for what I've been through. I have not won a race yet in the Cup Series. I still believe that, like, on the right day, it's going to happen. Like, I don't believe for one second that I can't win a race at any racetrack that we go to. There's not one that I feel like, oh, that'll never happen. But my gratitude of what I get to do is so different. I get to show my kids how, and it's like, I don't know. It's what really drives me now, is that, like, I want our kids to see what it's like to never give up.
Yeah.
Whether I have the success or not.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but I want to set a model for them. So every day I'm motivated by that. Like, it's not necessarily for me, it's for our kids. And hopefully it motivates you too. And it motivates anybody out there who's following my story. And I'm blessed to have people that care about my story. So, like, to have that, and just like think of my life as, it's not about me now. It's about doing it so that other people will want to do it for their life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've kind of broke through the mental side of like wanting to give up. And I just hope that people can find that too in my story. I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then when we do have success, I'm going to cry and be an emotional mess from all the stuff that we've gone through. But I'm still going to come home that night and have to take the trash to the road and change diapers. And we're going to get up at the first thing in the morning and get the kids to school. And a couple more people might know my name, but the gratitude's already there, because I feel like the battle's been won.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So
man, it's going to be so freaking cool.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for how it's going right now, regardless.
Yes. Like, I mean, last year we ran 26 races. We were scared to death at the beginning of the year because we thought maybe this is the tail end of it and racing cup might be over, and we had to watch other people play. I had to watch other people play with my toys, is what I call it. It's not fun. And then halfway through the year, we were living so much life with our family that we had not got to do for the last 13 years, because we were traveling constantly, that when the opportunity came up, we had to like seriously consider,
how do we feel
being
about
gone all the time? Is that
this?
something we want for our family? It's like, man, what a blessing to have that opportunity to like, and yes, we do. We're young, so let's travel with our 3 kids and our crazy life, and let's keep doing it while we're young. And man, it's been such a journey. but like you look back and God's so evident in all of it. So
It's such a temporary time of our lives
Yeah.
that we are just something that we have said literally since that first phone call we ever had was we'll figure it
figure
out.
it out. That's been our
And
marriage
that's,
motto.
like, our motto.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
I don't know. Like it's impossible to figure out how we're gonna do it, but like let's wake up in the morning and say, all right, what's the first step?
Yeah.
You know, I think we'll
We'll figure it out.
We're still
Yeah.
figuring it out
Every day.
every day. Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
That's a journey we're coordinating.
For sure. For sure.
Well, how should we wrap this thing up?
Do you want to wrap it up? Do you want to do one more question, or do you want bedtime routines?
What is Ty's bedtime routines? What are Ty's bedtime?
Ties? I put
No,
soft.
here's the thing. It makes me so mad when he is like in bed, cozy, lights off, when ready to go to sleep, and I'm like still doing my whole nighttime routine. Like your nighttime routine is brush your teeth for not the allotted amount of time that a dentist would
Enough time.
recommend.
Enough time.
I go through, I could go through 2 tubes of toothpaste before you finish one.
You do.
I like
And
a lot
then you
of
tell me
toothpaste.
use my toothpaste, and then it's gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like a lot of toothpaste, and I brush my teeth for a long time. You use like not even an eraser tip of toothpaste.
I like a perfect, like we have the round
Yeah.
Sonicare. I do
not
like a
enough.
perfect little dab that is perfect. That's all. That's all you need.
Have you noticed our kids certainly take on my toothpaste use?
That's the,
It's the whole
oh yeah.
brush.
Yep.
And then I sleep with like a night guard. I have a whole skincare regimen. You brush your teeth. You do have a nose piece.
I do. I mean, not like a nose piece, like a hair piece, but like a nose thing
Whatever
that
it's
opens.
called.
Intake.
nose
It's called intake. There's
piece.
2 like
Magnets.
magnets,
And
and
it
sticks in it.
clips on and
Because I have
it
my
literally
nose
clips on and
can't
goes.
breathe very good. It's a life changer for snorers and
Yeah.
mouth breathers like myself at night.
And I sleep with earplugs and a mouth guard because I grind my teeth and he kind of. You don't snore because I think I've kicked you enough,
Oh, yeah.
but I just can't even.
With all our
hear
gear
you
on at night, we're
breathing.
quite the vision. Yeah. But
Hot.
also, Haley can start her routine an hour before me.
It's not
And I can-
that. It's
20 minutes.
It is maybe 7 minutes.
I can fall asleep before you're done.
Definitely.
I can start at the same time.
But then I come in and I'm like, here we go, Seinfeld.
I'm a very, like, when my brain starts shutting down, it's like I'm falling, like an airplane falling out of the sky. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fall asleep soon.
how
But,
many pillows do you sleep with at night?
well, I don't know. We seem to have a pillow thief. 4 would be a comfortable number. You know, like 1 here, and then 2 behind me.
Do you know, I don't know if you've listened yet, but do you know that Taylor and John Hunter, they sleep with 1 pillow?
They're serial killers, is what they are.
And Daniel sleeps with 1 and Kenzie sleeps with 2. What's wrong with them?
I don't know.
They probably sleep great.
We don't feel comfortable unless there's a pillow on every square inch of our bed. I mean,
I have
decorative
2 behind my
pillows.
bed and 2 on my side,
Yeah.
so that's 4, and that's what you would like as well.
yeah. But Oakley is quite the blanket pillow thief currently. You go in her
I think
bed.
she has like 8 blankets in her bed right
It's
now.
wild. It's wild. It's a problem. So
Yeah.
she just stole a couple of my pillows. But
And she still goes, Mom, your bed's so much cozier. I need to like revamp her whole bed.
but like our whole nighttime routine is pretty extensive.
Of
If you
the
start
kids.
with like the kids, like we try to eat at 5:30. Like
Yeah.
if we go to a restaurant, we're getting the like blue plate special because we're
Yeah,
so
the
early. And I think is that like a
That's
countrywide
like-
thing or is that a southern thing?
I think that's like a countrywide thing. Like the 65 and
Older, yeah.
older get a blue plate special or something.
we
Isn't
like
that
to,
like an
we like to start
expression?
eating about 5:30.
Yeah.
And some of my friends who are single, shout out Tanner, thinks we're wild for eating that late early. 'Cause
He's
he
like,
eats at
"That's
like
lunch."
9:30.
Yeah.
But we eat at like 5:30, and then try to leave some time. I'm always rushing the kids into the bath. Haley's like, let them live a little bit after dinner, and I'm just like, no, let's get these kids processed and into the bed.
Yeah. Processed is your term for it. Like, let's get these kids processed.
Yeah. And
God.
So then we kind of divide and conquer whether Haley cooks for us, which is the coolest thing.
Pretty
ever
much
that
all
we have a lot of.
majority. I would say I cook maybe 4 nights a week. Wouldn't you say?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we might go out once,
Maybe 3.
maybe twice.
Yeah.
Which is something that's very important to us, to have meals with our kids at the dinner table, and we have done a good job with it so far at this point in life.
Yeah.
Like and we get to have that time with them.
And try to give each one of them time to talk.
Tell us about their day or something silly. It's usually not a whole lot, but it's something funny.
Yeah.
And I think we all look forward to it. So we do dinner, and we try to let them play. We, Haley, and I. And then we do baths almost every night. We're
We're kind of
just worn out, tired, and then we'll just kind of let them. And then they have like probably a 30 or 45-minute little play window, and we set a timer on a TV somewhere or on our phone.
Yeah.
And then
Let them play or watch a little bit of the show.
then we round everybody up and brush teeth and go to bed. And then Haley and I have a little bit of like a hour or so moment of just silence because we've been touched and talked to by little ones all day, and need a little time to decompress in our own fun ways. And then we meet back up at 9:50 to 10:30, depending. Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
it's not scheduled.
It's not scheduled, but somewhere.
But that's usually when you come to bed, and then we will like watch a show.
Yeah, we'll watch a show, and sometimes we don't get enough time where we need to. It's kind of some of our check-in times of like.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
like if we didn't have a real conversation during the day.
Usually, a lot of our disputes come from we haven't got enough check-in time together to like.
That's when it's
hey,
usually about time for a date night.
Yeah, and we need some time to like. This is what I'm stressed about. This is what I'm worried about. I'm fearing this. I'm worried about this, and just to hear each other and kind of get that off our chest. And to understand, like, hey, how can I help you deal with something that you're worried about in the future or something?
Yeah.
I think a lot of students are like that. Or we just talk about it. And they're just like, okay, fine. It doesn't bother me anymore. Now that I get to say something to you about it.
Definitely. That's usually
Mainly
me.
that's what it is. It's like decompressing.
It's usually me. Like, I have a bunch of stuff I want to unload, and then I feel better.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot better at it.
For me, it's like the movie Inside Out. Sometimes you gotta feel sadness to let the joy back in.
That's right.
You know, like gotta. Otherwise, you're just angry, scared, or disgusted.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just.
Isn't that? It's
babe,
such a.
you just want to cry about it?
Yeah.
It's like.
Not you don't say it like in a bad way.
No,
like
just like I mean it like
taunting way.
Hey, let it out.
But
I'm
like,
right here.
But like, dude, need a good cry.
You just need a good cry, baby.
Yeah.
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 That has not been that's been learned behavior because I don't think I wasn't aware of that. Like sometimes you just need to let some emotion out.
Yeah.
And I try to as much as I can.
Yeah.
It's so helpful.
Yeah.
So then we're in bed. We try to watch Seinfeld. We're very much got to watch something funny or happy before we go to bed.
We'll try to watch a show like Reacher or something, but then we got to end it with like Seinfeld or Friends to not be scared or have bad dreams.
And I'm up at 6:30. You're up at 6:45.
That's generous.
Generously, and I make coffee.
More like 7. 10.
This is like our mornings are pretty much the same.
I'm so excited for summer.
Yeah. Captain.
Where the kids
I'm up
are
at
not
6:30. I make the
getting up at
coffee.
school.
Haley comes down either with or without Bear, depending on if he's woke up. Actually, Captain's probably the next one up every
Captain is a lot of the time.
And he's like our little grown man. He comes downstairs, and it's the same thing every morning. He wants his protein shake or creamer and milk is what he calls it. And his drink, and he
Shout
wants
out
to watch
Grandma for the creamer milk.
Yeah, watch his monster truck show, and he'll take it, his little drink, and watch his monster truck show, and that's Captain is totally happy if you do that. Mm-hmm. And Oakley is like hit or miss, unpredictable. Right now, she's sleeping in a lot. I think she's growing, and not wanting to get out of bed. And then Bear Boy is pretty much the same. He just kind of hangs, and then then I take them.
Making their lunches,
Mom makes the
getting
lunches.
them out the door, getting them dressed in their uniform.
I do the getting them dressed. You do the making lunches
and the breakfast.
and the breakfast. I find the shoes, fill up the waters for school, which is a crazy thing that we didn't have in school. It's like take your own water bottle to school.
I know, there were fountains.
Fountains, yeah, and you had to push
Drink
somebody
out
out
of
of the
the water
way,
fountain.
and it
Yeah.
was like, and like you had to learn that like putting your mouth on the fountain's gross.
Yeah.
And different streams, heights of the fountains was entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, this one's a high one.
If you did them both at the same time, they'd be lower.
Yeah, that's right. Water pressure.
A little water pressure joke.
Sort of dorks. And then I'll take them to school, and then after I take them to school and drop them off, I'll work out, and then I'll go either to the shop or simulator,
Yep.
or we'll just chill, and then you're doing. Haley does all her finances and stuff, and she probably just.
I have an audition due at 5.
She's auditioning.
So.
Cool. Well, maybe that's how we wrap it up, because we need to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But we'll do more, right? This is your
I think we
podcast.
should do
Can I
it
get
every-
invited back?
I think that I'll determine whether or not this guest was entertaining enough due to the reaction that you guys have from it. Just kidding. I'll probably have him on again.
Cool.
Should I say that you were my guest today because Marissa was sick?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta bring somebody out of the bullpen. You know, you gotta bring in the righty. So.
Oh, Marissa, feel better.
All right.
Okay,
Bye.